I think the he said, she said of who requested a trade or if they're just trying to trade him doesn't really matter. The reality of this thing to me is pretty clear. John Allen won't be on the roster when the new league year opens. I don't think this should be a big surprise. He had no guaranteed money. He's 30, only played 5 games last year. He was good down the stretch, but you know, this is the business. B. Mitch said it awesome on radio. He's like, this is the business of football. He said it happened to me. It happened to Art Monk. Hell, it happened to Joe Montana. Like, this is the business of football.
One of the things that you say all the time is that when a front office goes to a player and says, hey, we want to restructure your deal, that's really them saying, take a pay cut.
Or we're going to cut you.
Similar situation here with John Allen, where regardless of whether John requested or they went to John and said, hey, we're going to open this up, the end result is the same either way, and it's that he's not going to be here. And listen, John Allen was a big part of this franchise when this team was really, really bad.
Sure.
And he deserves a ton of credit for all the things he did with the franchise through all of that. But when you look at his production, particularly since he signed the new deal, outside of the one season after he signed it, it hasn't matched that contract. This team has been gutted in the run game for years at a time now. Clearly the duo of John and Deron Payne in the middle haven't been what the thought was going to be for them.
No,
but you saw what real
Alabama wall.
You saw what real D lines were.
Yeah,
you saw what real D lines were in the Super Bowl
right.
with the Eagles, and you recognize that this isn't what Washington has.
And
so it's time to move on.
You have said it for some time. Allen's been a good player. I don't want to dismiss Allen. The 2 Pro Bowls were valid. Like, he's a good player,
right.
But like, he's not a game. Like, you watch Jalen Carter, and then you watch what John is, and there's a easy critique here to say, but dude, they're talking about building the trenches, and now you're losing some in the trenches. This is a business side of things. This is about cap space and not having to throw guaranteed money at a veteran player that is coming off a season where he played 5 out of 20 games or whatever, or 5 regular season games anyway. A dude that slipped to the draft go way back because of arthritic
shoulder injury, yeah.
So this shouldn't
be
a
a surprise.
Remember we
were in Philly for that?
Yeah, that was wild.
This is a little bit of addition by subtraction.
It is kind of crazy. We have covered every second of John Allen's
tenure here
Redskins football team and Commanders career.
We're getting down to the end of the guys who can say they were all three.
I know.
Redskins football
Who is
team.
It? Tress, Duran, Revo.
I think that's
John,
right?
but
John,
soon not to be John.
Duran.
I thought I said Duran, but yeah. Maybe
anyways, the point being, you saw Washington try to take a swing at having that defensive line when they did the 4 first-round picks. It didn't play out, and I think also you see the way this defense has changed, I think, is the way that they look at the defensive tackle position and what they're expected to do. Because John is a more upfield defensive tackle. He's a guy who wants to go make plays.
Well, I think it also says a lot about Johnny Newton, right? They think he can step in.
And you knew when they drafted him that they had to be the foresight of, hey, we can't have all this money locked up between 2 defensive tackles. And sack numbers aren't the end-all, be-all, particularly for a defensive tackle. But Aaron Donald had 84 sacks since 2017.
Right.
Deron Payne has 42. And when
you're comparing to arguably the best ever, but
when they're in the same stratosphere as far as salary cap goes and money paid to them over their career, over their second contracts, I think you have to at least recognize that there's a comparison to be made between those two, despite the fact that Aaron Donald's a sure thing Hall of Famer, one of the best defensive tackles ever.
He's probably the best defensive player since Reggie White or something. You know what I mean? Like the numbers that.
Yeah.
Whatever. We don't. It's a weird Aaron Donald rabbit hole.
We could go down a rabbit hole.
The 2 things I wanted to say, though, I think for people that are saying, "Oh, it should have been Payne instead of Allen," Payne still has guaranteed money, so it doesn't add up from a straight cap perspective. That's the reality of it. And 2, I don't know if you agree with this. I think by and large, fans understand this, are cool with it. Say thanks, John. Good luck. I think by and large, people feel good about that.
Yeah.
Where I've landed talking to some people. Peters isn't going to say this, obviously. I do think they're willing to cut him. Like, I don't think he's sticking around if they can't find a trade partner. And I think a trade partner you're talking about, I think this thing is John and a 6th for a late 4th.
Okay, yeah.
Like,
we're on the same page here.
Like, I think the teams you should be watching, from what I've heard, are NFC North.
So you were talking about fans being okay with the trade, which I entirely agree with. I think fans are generally.
I think
okay
by and large they understand.
I think where the difference is I think fans think that they might be able to get a 4th or 5th round pick back for him, and quite frankly,
just straight up.
Yeah, I think quite frankly that's not the world that's not the
NFL
world of
trades are
reality.
funky anyway.
Yeah, I think you're talking about a conditional 7, the conditional 6.
Well, how about-
unless you package a deal and do something?
I think it's a pick swap, and that's how you make it work.
Yeah.
But let's set the record clear on something else. Everybody is here in Indy, including Browns general manager Andrew Berry, who wanted to set the record very clear. Myles Garrett is not to be traded. So for everybody tweeting us a second and John Allen for Garrett, please stop.
a second and John Allen.
I mean, a first,
Come
whatever.
on.
Whatever it is,
Asinine.
Allen is not the difference maker in a Myles Garrett trade.